If you've been trying to lose weight and you've changed your diet, you've added exercise, you do all the right things, and you keep stumbling and you're just not making the progress that you want, or maybe you've lost the weight and it's come back again and you just are tearing your hair out and don't know what to do next, stick around. We've got something to talk about. Hi, I'm Rose McAvoy. I'm the creator of Plateful of Grace. I'm a health coach and I love helping women make peace with food by finding their joy. Let's break overeating into two categories. The first one, super fast, is due to a chemical imbalance in your body. Somehow the foods you've eaten are triggering an overhunger in your body. The best way to address that really is through specific work on getting your nutrition so that it is just right for you and your body. The second type of overeating comes from using food to feed a desire, something else that's going on in your emotional or your spiritual life. Let's call this heart hunger. And this is the type of overeating that I want to talk about. I knew my weight loss was going to last when I began to listen to my desires and truly understand what it was that I was hungry for. I started to notice patterns about when I was nibbling or snacking, when I knew that I wasn't hungry, but I still had that urge, that craving, that desire to go and seek out food. When I learned to lean into my emotions, it became a natural progression to start to fill in those desires with non-food food. I was feeding my heart in a way where I no longer had to feed my body at the same time. For instance, when I when my youngest was just a baby and I was a stay-at-home mom, I was thrown into a world that I had very little experience with. Suddenly, I was at home for long stretches with a baby who was incredibly needy, but could reciprocate very little of what I was doing. I would be exhausted and I would be bored and I would be lonely. And then I would find myself reaching in for handful after handful of a snack. And maybe it was just little bits at a time, but by the end of the day, the package would be gone. I was emotionally and physically depleted, but because my child needed so much attention, I was unable to take the time to restore. When I started to catch myself, I would literally find myself in the kitchen and I would say, stop. And I would start talking to myself and I would say, you are not hungry. You are tired. You are not hungry. You are bored. And then I would reassure myself that in the next few minutes, few hours, few days, the situation would change. I started to coach myself to pack up the baby and go for a walk, or to simply sit down and breathe for a little while. I started to give myself permission to understand that what I was feeling was true and to take some positive steps towards addressing that need. And in doing so, I acknowledged that craving, that desire in my heart was true. Often, simply by acknowledging that our emotions are true, we can begin to diffuse that urgency we feel to put food in place of whatever it is we're truly seeking. Leaning into my emotions helped me to gain a deeper understanding of myself and what I truly wanted in my life and what was really important to me and what my priorities really looked like. I was able to find a greater fulfillment through addressing my true desires rather than a superficial fulfillment of just feeding an immediate urgent craving. How do we begin to do this? I mean, this might sound kind of nuts. You might feel like, well, I can't just start talking to myself. And that's fine. What I love to do is think about the movie Inside Out. Inside Out is an animated film where emotions are characters in the story. And so you can take a cue from that and start to think about your emotions being characters in your story. Give them a face, give them a personality, and most of all, acknowledge that they have their own motivations, they have their own desires, they have their own reasons to be pinging when they do. They want to protect you. They want to look out for your best interest. And so sometimes what helps is to acknowledge that motivation, that desire to look out for your best interest by communicating back with your emotions. And you can do this like I did by literally having a conversation with yourself, or you can just think it through. It might be helpful to doodle some pictures. It might be helpful to write a letter. You might write a letter from loneliness to you, and then you can write a letter back to loneliness and say, hey, I hear you. I understand what you're trying to tell me. And so here's what I'm going to do to help address your need. And then talk about maybe making time to call a friend, maybe putting some things on your calendar so that you're getting that interaction that you're looking for. When I started to lean into my emotions and to take positive actions towards fulfilling those deep desires that I was discovering, I became a richer version of myself. And it wasn't that I was cutting away all of the negative things about me. It was that I was blossoming into who I've always been destined to become. It felt like coming home to myself. And people around me noticed that this sense of fulfillment and satisfaction was radiating from me. And it became so much easier to be in situations where I could just be myself. I didn't have to have any pretense anymore. And I was much better equipped to give of myself, both emotionally and physically and even spiritually, because I was coming from a place where I was better equipped to give. I had more fuel to give to others because I was feeding myself in a much richer way. So, the next time you feel yourself reaching for a nibble or a snack or a treat, you've got the munchies all day, you just get to the end of the day and realize that you have broken your diet or failed again, take some time to lean into your emotions and lean into what it is that you're really truly hungry for, and see what you can learn about your heart's hunger that you maybe have been trying to feed through your stomach. I've got an article that I will link to in the notes that takes this a little bit deeper. And so I encourage you to check that out and see if there's more there that resonates with you, and then start putting things into action. Please subscribe to the channel so that you know when the next video comes up immediately, and share this with anybody that you think might need a little encouragement to just stay on a healthy path. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I can't wait to talk to you again, because there is so much more that we can go into when we talk about emotions and their impact on weight loss. So come back here real soon. I can't wait to talk to you some more.